I just went over a brief video of what I had in the notebook as far as like dimensions and stuff go, why I made this, how it started out as a conceptual design for better storage, blah blah blah. I don't need to make the video again, but now we're gonna jump into me having acquired raw materials from the steel yard in like the Peoria area, and then moving forward with the beginning of fabrication. So I just bought steel, and now we're gonna start doing stuff. Okay guys, one last thing before we really kick into it. This is me, I'm editing the video right now, and every time I restart the camera, now that I'm like watching the clips, I say, all right guys. It's just kind of a funny thing I'm gonna work on in the future so that I don't have to cut it out every time, but let's get rolling. All right guys, so we're kind of in, depending on how far you want to break down the fabrication process, we are either on step 2 or 600. But we're moving past the planning phase, and we're looking at actually processing raw materials. I bought this pre-cut at the steel yard that I buy steel from because it makes things more convenient for me. But I have the bulk of my structural members that are cut out now. These ones are the longest, and then these over there are the other ones I need. And these all need 45-degree miters on them. You can see that these do come with some gunk on there, which I'll probably wipe off before we start welding it. But this is I guess the first stage really in fabrication. You have your materials, you buy your materials, or you have it already. You start to cut to length and the size and shape you need. And I'm going to finish up that process with the structural members by putting miters on these 4 and those 4. And then we'll probably tack it together today and see if we like the way it looks. Going back to sort of the overall design, we have these and those are going to be the top and bottom rail pieces. These 3-footers are going to be our vertical posts, and those 4 and these 4 over here, you can see them, are the cross members that make up sort of the different shelving levels. So yeah, I'm gonna throw these on the table, mark them out real quick, and cut them. All right, so I've lightly wiped most of the oil off here that I kind of get with these gloves. I like these gloves because, one, the steel's really hot. We're in Phoenix, so that's kind of a pain in the butt. So it helps me grab this stuff. Otherwise, it's not really a big deal. The oil can be kind of annoying to mark stuff with, so wiping it down can be helpful with that. For this, just to make my life easier, I'm going to take off, this corner. So I'm just going to put a line like this on these, so I can't get them mixed up. And then should be about this easy. Now I have a cut disc, like a chop saw, but I don't really trust it to make these sorts of cuts. So I'm probably going to use a bandsaw or a cutoff disc for some more precision. But yeah, I'm going to really quick go ahead, mark the other side, start cutting through these. Those are cut. Obviously it's not perfect. That will clean up pretty easy with a grinder, so no big deal. Now I can move on to the next one. All right, guys, so well, you can see the time lapse, is it loaded properly? Here's how those ends turned out. A little bit of burning on the inside, not a big deal. They should fit up pretty well in the end. I'm pretty happy with those joints. We'll make them work. Yeah, these are the small portions. We're gonna do the big ones now. I won't make a video for that. It's the same process. It's not very exciting. So these will be done, the other stuff will be done, and then we can kind of tack it together and have the layout go together. All right, it's about 110 in the shop right now, maybe a little more than that with everything going on. But you can see we have our pieces mitered. So we're gonna put 2 of these with 2 of those, and the other 2 with the other 2, and those will become sort of the top and bottom main rails of the structure. After that gets together, we're gonna put these with the vertical pieces between them, and that'll leave no openings in the structure for rust and stuff to inhibit the project. These will become the long cross members, and these will be the short cross members. Yeah, so I'm gonna end it here for today, organize this, and I'll come back tomorrow, and we will start putting it together. Thanks for watching. The next part of the plan is we have all our parts cut. We're gonna try and put it together. So I'm going to go into time-lapse mode, but you'll see what becomes the horizontal members, what becomes the vertical members. I could TIG it. I think I'm just gonna trigger real quick, tack it up with my little Lincoln 210 MP, and we'll go from there. So I'm throwing time lapse. All right, the hood I'm using today is a Miller Digital Elite. I've had this thing forever, probably like 4 or 5 years. No, probably since 2014, somewhere in that time. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can go to that or that. I usually am only on the Northlander one. Yeah, we're gonna start tagging together, get the main frame together. All right, guys, we're having some squareness issues. So I put a little ratchet strap on here, and we're gonna be careful how we tack it because we don't want to tack like twisted, but it should give us the ability to very easily correct the squareness. If I was attached to like a big metal table or a base piece, what you could do is just tack it up and bend one end and have the other one fit.
Alright, so we're having some squareness issues, like I mentioned. I put the clamps on there because they're easy to grab onto with a little ratchet strap. You want to measure across from both corner to corner and to make sure that your dimensions are the same widthwise and I guess lengthwise. So I tacked it up, and you can see here I'm welding it out because that's pretty happy with squareness, but right now I'm working on the ground. It's not ideal, but the guy who I rent from didn't want me to use his table for some reason. So there you can run the squareness issues. You can have it be where one corner and the other corner are totally off height-wise when it comes to like the eventual level when it's all put together. Here I use some magnets to kind of hold stuff together tenderly, and then you'll notice that I tack it and then I can put clamps on it afterwards. The tacks you want to be just strong enough that they don't snap and break on you all the time, but the steel's going to flex on its own. And so you can have something be pretty square, and then you just sort of line it up the way you need to get it all finished up. I was happy with those. So now we're going to blend the corners. I go into a little more detail in a second here of how to do that. It's not really instructional, but it's just how I'm doing it in the video. Pretty much you just want it to, you want to really take consideration into how it's going to look when it's painted. This is going to be a finished product that people would potentially see inside, and the paint will show up every blemish that is there in the steel. So it's really important to think about how it's going to look, not just when you're fabricating it, but when it's a finished product. Again, we're using speed squares here and right angle squares, and they're nice, but don't trust them 100%. You always want to go back and measure corner to corner, make sure you get the same distances everywhere so that the final product isn't totally cantilevered. And now that it's all together, we have a 3D box, and every side needs to be effectively measured across. So just a little bit of work here, a little bit more effort and follow through ends up saving you a lot more time in the end. I ended up putting a ratchet strap across the entire thing, which you might see later on in the video, just so that when I put the panels in, it was completely squared off and I didn't run into any additional problems.
Coming up next, I will be unboxing the wooden top, and then after that, we're going to start putting panels together into the main structure of this bench. Hit like, subscribe, or comment below to let me know if you like what's going on, want to see more of it, think what I'm doing is stupid, or have any questions or comments. Thanks for watching.